trying to change the world.
Oh, really?
The Facebooking and the tweeting and the Instagramming, all that would not exist without our understanding of science.
So it's amazing how you took that as an insult.
You mean true for you is different from true for anybody else?
Yeah, absolutely, because I can't
think either got to be true or not.
I can't, no.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in Internetlandia. I'm your host, Andy Cowan, and this is ORly Radio Show 53 for Friday, April 10th, 2015. With me is David O'Connor and Jessica Robinson.
All right.
Welcome to the party, pals.
Welcome to Earth.
Yeah, welcome to Earth. Well, we got
Now,
politics. Oh, man, it's...
We got some shit
There's
today.
been a bevy of news, and it's...
It's been a busy week. The assholes came off of vacation, apparently.
Yeah. I'm calling this
moved
episode...
for springtime.
They are blooming.
I'm calling this episode "Send in the Clowns" because kind of that's what I'm getting a feel for as what the Republican Party is starting to regurgitate for us.
They're not penguins and we are not their baby chicks, okay? This is not nutritional. This is not for our survival. This is... It's like, what do they do? It's like when snakes do it. They just regurgitate everything to make you go away. I think that's what they're really doing.
Before we get into it, a little errata. Primarily just to let you know what our errata actually is. And so we make mistakes. So please, if you spot one, pause the podcast. You know, if you're watching live, obviously take a note or something. Or better yet, subscribe, pause it, and then send us an email, just a little note, something kind, something not so kind, whatever. Just send us a mail. My mailbox is empty. Over at orlyradiopodcast at gmail.com. Or you can phone it in at 470-222-6759. And you know what? I did get one voicemail, and I'm going to play that. Let me see. Where did I put that? There it is. Okay, so here's one voicemail that we got.
Hi, ORly Radio listeners. This is your host, Andy Cowan, calling my voicemail to make sure that it still works. Please consider calling us, 470-222-6759. Bye.
So there's that.
There is that.
So please give us a call so that I'm not just talking to myself.
But that's half the fun.
Obviously, you two are figments of my own imagination. I know this.
We're all in the Matrix.
You're just one fragment of my personality.
Do you take the red pill or the blue pill?
I am merely a piece of underdone potato.
Potato.
Boil him, mash him, stick him in his stew?
Yes, exactly.
Nice.
So what we have changed the format since you were on last, Jess, for our 1 year. So we've got the good, the bad, and the ugly, and then we're going to get into the good. Little spaghetti western action for all you folks out there. Popular Science was reporting on new battery technology. Battery technology that won't actually catch on fire and charges faster.
Always a bonus. No fire.
It is a bonus. Well, if you've ever seen some of the pictures of the laptop lithium-ion batteries catastrophically failing,
yes.
That is... Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you wonder, it's like, okay... Because it always, for some reason, happens at like large conferences where they're all set up on banquet tables, and you really hope that banquet table is maybe wood, because if it was plastic, just run. I mean, really.
It's honestly probably the polyester tablecloths in which they are sitting.
Oh, and those will go up too. That's always fun.
Yes. Oh, yes, they will.
So, out from Stanford, researchers at Stanford University have deployed this new battery technology based on aluminum. Let's see, it isn't the first one. Yes, I'm sorry. For our British listeners, let me add the extra syllable. It is aluminium, of course. So the aluminium-based batteries have been investigated. Anyway, The material has a number of advantages over lithium. It's flexible, allowing it to be folded or bent without losing power, can be charged in a minute, use it instead of hours, and is incredibly durable, according to the Stanford chemistry professor Hongji Da. Yeah, I think I nailed that one. Probably not.
Japanese it hurt?
You can even drill a hole through the battery, and it will still continue to work.
Conductivity of aluminum, hooray!
Yeah, I think it's Hongji Dai.
Yeah. What you said. I think, isn't that exactly what I said? I can't even remember.
You said words.
I said words. There were words coming out of my mouth hole. So,
yeah, words. They're not words, they're names, actually.
It's true, yeah. They're not really words. They're completely made up. Just like points. So,
they're all made up.
We should have a point system in here.
But what are the rules of this game going to be, David? I don't know that I want to...
gets 10 points. Because of reasons.
According to the rules that you just made up.
Okay.
Is that
all
like
right,
the flag system?
Because he made a battery you can drill a hole through. Thank you,
Yes, well, I definitely award 50 points to Stanford University for that.
There you go.
Okay. So not only is this a wonderful thing, but aluminum is also a lot cheaper and more readily available in bauxite production than lithium is. So I think we're going to see some really great things here. And could you imagine? Let's see, more than 7,500 charge cycles versus 1,000 that you're likely to get out of a lithium ion. So it's going to last longer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's going to charge faster.
And
it's more flexible.
A whole lot lighter.
It's puncture proof.
It runs cooler.
I'm not seeing any downsides at all to this.
There is one.
What's the one bad side?
Capacity. The capacity, it's further down in the article. The capacity is about half a lithium-ion battery right now. But this is, first run.
First run, and also
we made a battery out of a non-conductive material, and arguably the most conductive material known to man.
But also the charge time is literally percentages of what it is now.
It's percents of a percent of what it is now.
Yeah.
Efficiency has a ways to go, obviously.
So, yeah, your charge cycles are better. The where the hell was it? It has half the overall power density, the amount of juice you can store. More closely resembles the large lead-acid battery you find in your car.
Yeah. But of course, the batteries, say in like a Tesla, those are lithium.
Tesla.
Which unfortunately makes them quite volatile.
Yes.
So something that you can put holes through and still have it work and not blow up on you. That sounds like an ideal thing for cars.
If they can get the capacity up.
Mm-hmm.
This will easily replace lithium-ion technology, which lithium-ion technology has been around for a long, long time now.
Yeah.
They
are using graphene as well as the cathode to the aluminum anode within the battery technology itself. And of course, graphene is still proving difficult to manufacture in large quantities.
I thought they had found a way to kind of mass produce it cheaply.
Within one lab setting.
Mm.
And it also had a very high failure rate. So you could make an awful lot of it, but you weren't going to get a great turnout of that. So it still has a long way to go, apparently similar to the aluminum battery itself. So this is future tech. So I'd say, what, 10 years, 20 years?
I give it 5.
Ooh.
I'll say 10 years. That puts it on track with the Skunkworks fusion reactor.
Okay. Sounds good. I don't think we're ever going to see that. I really want to see it, so please prove me wrong. Come on.
I think honestly that's going to depend on who wins the next election for president. Because if you get an oil guy up there, they're going to can that shit.
This is true. Yeah.
Bury that somewhere in the sand forever.
Yeah.
Because money.
Because money. So, enough of that. We're on to California. Well, maybe we were already in California. It's hard to say.
We were always in California. This is 1984.
Jesus.
I'm
Anyway,
awarding myself 1,984 points for that. On a rule that I just made up.
okay, right. Sure. Okay, I'm glad you're keeping track because boy, I'm not going to. Okay. Now there's been a lot of hubbub, of course, about vaccinations and measles and the vaccine deniers and overall the science deniers of this day and age.
Yeah.
Why they're doing that, we'll discuss later, actually in this episode. But over in California, they've actually put a bill out that bans it bans exemptions to childhood vaccines. So
only if you want to send your kids to public school, basically.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're going to send them to the public education system, I'm sorry, you're going to have them
Vaccinated.
unless there is actually a medical reason not to. In
Like
which
say,
case,
oh, I don't know, an allergy.
right, because those are a thing. They're rare.
Yes.
But should that happen, be it known that since all of the other kids have to have the vaccines, that will be the safest place for your child that can't get one.
Yep.
Because of herd immunity. So, way to go, California. Hopefully it spreads like wildfire across the fruited plain. I don't know that it will, but it did pass 6-2, so that's pretty good.
That's awesome.
It's not fully official yet, from what I understand from this article.
Yeah.
It's got more.
It's been drafted.
It's got more hurdles to go through still, but
It has to get signed, things like that. So, hopefully it will, because that does seem to be the majority opinion in California right now, that, look, we need to do this. Because it's a hub of overseas travel. That's the first stop. Everybody comes through like LAX, and then off they go. And, well, we can't control the way they vaccinate people overseas. So the measles.
Actually, do you know who has the top two busiest airports? Hong Kong and Paris. And
That's
then
not
New
so
York.
Well, yeah. Well, I was only talking hub for the United States.
right.
Of course.
So, of course, New York, but that's because that's closer to Europe, and that's where most of the travel actually comes from. But as far as overseas being, China and the Pacific Rim, that's going to be basically Los Angeles.
Pacific.
Oh yeah.
No, we're not talking about Jaegers. As much as I'd love to pilot one, we're not talking about this.
Someday.
Not this
Someday
time.
soon.
We're talking about
Because
vaccines.
I could talk about Idris Elba forever.
Let's see. So within the show notes, I have kind of multi-tiered links, and I actually have a link to the Senate bill, and it says, let's see, this bill would eliminate the exemption from immunization based upon personal beliefs. This bill would exempt a home-based private school from the prohibition described above. So that, yes, as you were saying, David, this only applies really to public education systems.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Man, a public policy applying to public education? That's crazy!
I know! At least it makes
What are they thinking?
It makes some sense, which is wonderful in this
Yeah,
day.
vaccinations and herd immunity are to bring up something from last week. They're on the same grounds as my right to swing my fist ends where the other guy's nose begins.
Yes.
Your right to have unvaccinated children ends where other children are present. basically, or where they're definitely going to gather, because of the ones who can't get vaccinations due to the aforementioned stuff. Herd immunity, just quick brief bio for people who might not know, is if everybody's vaccinated, fewer people get the illness, meaning that the kids who can't be vaccinated aren't exposed to things which could kill or maim them.
Now, this also includes
Can't,
for those that can't.
don't
For
want.
those that can't get it, it's not just people that are allergic. It's also people that are simply too young to get the vaccination, but old enough to get something like whooping cough.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been something that has also been happening recently. And within the link, the first link for this story, there is an autoplay video, so watch out for that, that goes into a long diatribe on all of this. And one of the features in there is a little 5.5-month-old child that ended up contracting whooping cough.
There's
Just
also, I think, a family
5.5.
of, what, 8? There was like a family of 8 up in like Wisconsin or something, whose parents were vehemently anti-vax, and then all 6 of their kids got whooping cough. All at once. All within like a week. And then they're like, well, maybe we were wrong.
Maybe, yeah. Because
maybe.
there's nothing like the personal suffering of a loved one to really kind of change your mind.
Especially when the youngest is, I think, 10 months. I want to say 10, 11 months.
Ooh.
Up through, I believe, 11 years. So there's like a
Big old gap.
6 kids between less than a year to 11 or 12 with whooping cough.
Yeah, whooping cough, also known as pertussis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's rare, thankfully, right now because it can be vaccinated for 20,000 to 200,000 U.S. cases per year. However, with whooping cough, from what I understand, once you got it, you can't get rid of it. It just has to work through your system, and that could take a full year.
Hooray!
So here's to their full year of misery.
Yeah, so imagine your 6-month-old child who is completely dependent on you for everything in this world, and you can do nothing about watching them cough themselves sick until they're a year and a half old.
And you, no, that's a nope.
Just want to paint that nope picture for you, because that's important. So
I like that nope picture.
yeah. Speaking of things that are probably nope and heads being transplanted over there in California for vaccination land. Jess, you brought this story back to our attention. I think we discussed it earlier in some undisclosed episode.
Yeah.
Apparently, they're moving forward with this guy a little bit faster. You wanna dive into this?
It looks like.
I can tell you about the original story. It was just a paper before. This is a whole new level.
There was a paper. There's been a TED Talk by the guy that wrote the paper. They were saying, I think it was back in February, that it was going to be another 2 years before this was even a thing. But there's been a 30-year-old Russian volunteer, Valery, let's see if I can not completely butcher this, Spiridonov. Hooray!
Yeah. I would have done no better.
He has volunteered because this poor person suffers from Werning-Hoffman disease.
Well, that's something I've never heard of.
Exactly. I think that's the whole point. But I've seen a picture of this man, and it looks, to say not fun is an understatement. Anyway, he's volunteered.
Keep talking.
Keep on going. The Italian surgeon Sergio Canavero, he had a whole TED Talk on it not that long ago. But back in February, they said it'd be another 2 years. Well, about that. 36-hour operation requiring the assistance of 150 doctors, and it's looking like it's going to be in June. He's getting volunteers. What summit is he getting volunteers from?
Wow.
I missed it.
It's
But he's actually going to a summit and getting volunteers.
He's going to the annual conference of the American Academy of Neurological and Orthopedic Surgeons in June, where he will invite other researchers to join him in his head transplant dream.
Yeah. But what everyone's kind of going, I don't know about that, is they're saying there are fates worse than death for this poor person that has volunteered to do this.
Yes, quoting Dr. Hunt Batjer, I would not wish this on anyone. I would not allow anyone to do it to me, as there are a lot of things worse than death. There's no telling what the transplant and all the new connections and foreign chemicals in his head and brain will have to suddenly deal with.
What it will do to his psyche.
Yeah. Putin put it rather chillingly, quote, "It could result in a hitherto never experienced level and quality of insanity," which I now want. Bumper sticker.
Never before experienced this level and quality of insanity.
Yes. Could result in a hitherto never experienced level of quality of insanity. Yes, quality insanity, that's what we're looking for here. But apparently it's actually happening.
It's actually happening. There's a volunteer and everything, so...
There's a volunteer and everything.
2 years is...
Now, if we flash forward a little bit, but before we flash forward, let me tell you what this Wierding-Hoffmann disease is. Apparently, it is an infantile spinal muscular atrophy. Yeah.
Looking at this person, that's what it looks like. He is confined to a wheelchair.
Not so good. Characterized by degeneration of nerve cells, motor nuclei within the lowest region of the brain, the brainstem, and certain motor neurons in the spinal cord. So, yeah, he basically needs a body that grew without his brain giving chemicals for it. So, if he's going to a fully formed body already, then he wouldn't have to worry about all those things that didn't happen during growth.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, I guess that's what he's looking at. The number of chemicals that this guy is going to be on for the rest of his life to make sure that his new body does not reject his old head is really going to be something interesting. But as we move forward, now we're flashing forward to science fiction land.
This has incredible implications.
Well, in many cases, people have had their heads frozen so that at some time in the future, either they could be downloaded to some supercomputer, given a robot body, or a new
procedure.
A new meat body transplant. Yeah.
Right.
Amazingly enough,
Walt Disney once again.
their dreams may become our reality.
Well, here's just to throw things out there. What they discovered with Dolly, the first cloned sheep, is Dolly quickly aged to the same age as the originating cells.
Did she?
I believe so.
I thought she grew like a normal sheep. There wasn't any advanced aging because there was no. Oh wait, no. She grew like a normal sheep would from birth,
right.
But age of her cells themselves.
Yes.
If memory serves, which sometimes it does.
I'll have to look that up. We'll put it up in Errata next week if we're wrong.
What happened,
but just think about the possibility of growing somebody a new body. That is literally a cloned body.
I don't have a problem with that.
Right?
I really
Assuming
don't.
it can be done correctly.
I'd love new knees. That'd be fine.
New knees?
Yeah.
Next time you're at the gym with your new body, you'll be like, lift with your legs, asshole.
I would just like a functioning thyroid at this point.
You remember what this felt like when you fucked it up, right?
Oh, it's basically the do-over. Yeah.
Yeah.
In a big way.
But think about, paraplegics, quadriplegics.
What was that?
It's gonna be just like Borderlands. You die, you just regenerate somewhere else. They take a bit of your money. You're done. You're good.
I can deal with it. So speaking of meat bodies and meat, and cloning, so you might remember that we talked about the lab-grown hamburger.
Yes.
And how
it cost $325,000.
It wasn't so good either, because they just grew the muscle tissue, so it didn't have any of the delicious fat.
Yes.
That we've come accustomed to.
It was very far away from bacon.
Right. Well, apparently now the cost of lab-grown burger patties has dropped from $325,000 to $11.36.
I'd pay $11.36 for a burger.
I absolutely would.
People consistently do. I'm pretty sure I did 2 weeks ago.
$17 for a whole plate. Yeah. On average.
That's not even that bad with today's market.
No.
Oh, God, that's so horrible just to think that that's not bad.
Now I'm just curious, is that $12 retail or is that $12 food cost?
Oh, who knows? I doubt that's MSRP.
$11.36 food cost. The growth process is $80 per kilogram.
There you go.
That's not bad though.
Sorry, no. I come from that side. I'm sorry. I had to know.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's probably what, a $40 burger?
With markup, probably.
$25 to $40, I would say.
$40.
However, at least at that point, then all the vegetarians out there and those that are definitely against unethical treatment of animals.
Nothing had to die for it.
Nothing died for that burger. It never even had a brain.
No consciousness was extinguished.
It's literally cells. There wasn't even a nervous system. They're saying this technique could produce 10,000 kilos of lab meat.
In a year?
A year? I'm guessing that would have to be a year.
They don't give a time frame, but
it's
probably per slab. They can make a 10,000 kilogram slab of meat.
Wow, that's
a lot.
A disturbing image.
22,000 pound muscle.
Wow.
So
I can't even. I can't even. That blew my brain.
Andy has lost the ability to even.
Yep. Not gonna happen. So
just showed up without the ability, and it has spread.
Right. But imagine a world. In a world. No cattle, or at least now we just let them go and be like free-range animals out there in the world, but we're not raising them in such a way to then slaughter them.
Yeah.
We'll probably still have dairy cows.
We'll have dairy cows and we'll have petting cows until they create the first GMO udder.
Oh wow! There's another image I didn't want. Thank you, David. Another.
They can grow it on the side of their 10,000 kilo.
Oh God. Oh.
The only reason we still drink milk, y'all, is because of the dairy industry. We are the only mammal who A, drinks another mammal's milk, and B, drinks it beyond, weaning age.
But it's delicious and cheap.
It is.
I'm not
delicious.
saying it's not.
Cheese.
I am not saying it's not.
Yeah. It is weird when you start to think of it in that way.
Yeah.
It's so good. I can't help it. It's just so good.
That's not an entirely true statement. There have been examples of like dogs feeding cats and stuff like that, taking care of little litters.
Yeah, but that's when they're infants,
That's when they're infants, but I mean, we don't. The dogs don't have, or the cats don't have a dog milk cultivation industry.
Yeah.
Nor do they have opposable thumbs. So I mean,
we seek it out from multiple animals.
Well, you can milk anything with nipples. There you go.
But do you want to?
No.
Leave the Yeti alone.
Just say no. That wasn't a nipple. Okay, so
no.
In other happy news, yes, we're still in good news. It's just weird as shit. So,
We're riding the high. We're riding the high.
exactly. From the New York Times, Obama calls for an end to conversion therapies for gay and transgender youth. Yes. So,
Long live
thankfully,
Leela.
yeah, he's really, when his opinion evolved on the matter, really, I think it just became politically acceptable for him to voice his opinion. I don't think he actually had to evolve on it.
No, I doubt he did either.
Yeah, this isn't the kind of thing you typically evolve on unless you have a relative, like we were saying earlier, that has gone through it and you've witnessed how horrible it is for them.
Or it
and
could be he was just completely oblivious of it. Some people are just oblivious.
Yeah.
Well, he
What coin of term here is there's straight privilege because you have no idea the shit that gay people go through
Exactly.
when
yeah,
it's not directed at you.
you do have
And you're not the progenitor of it.
there is a lot of tunnel vision to being in the majority in that way, because you don't necessarily have to see it. You almost
If you
have
are,
to out of your way to find it.
in this country, if you are white, straight, and male, there's a lot of shit that just slides right on by, and you don't even know what's happening.
How you doing there, guys?
Hey,
Oh, hey, we're
Are
having
you lesbian?
I have the privilege of being straight passing and white and middle class.
yeah,
I do. I
Yeah.
am still a woman, though.
you are still a woman. And based on our societal trends, you're considered lesser in a lot of
How's
How's it feel to get 78% for everything? Huh?
Oh, it feels like a whole lot of punching in the face. Is what it feels.
That's just the tip.
We'll get to that later. There's more
Just
on
the
that later.
tip.
But
Oh, that's right.
let us rejoice in Obama's wisdom and Joe
Yes.
Biden's.
Yes, Joe, our crazy Uncle Joe. He's the happiest guy I've ever seen. But boy,
I just want to give him a hug. I want to go a little Leslie Knope on him and just give him a hug.
Yeah. I'd probably get him a hug too. But I'm a hugger. That's one of the things I do. So this actually has happened. Now it was there was an online petition signed by over 120,000 of us Americans in 3 months to end conversion therapy, which is for the unindoctrinated. It is a religious practice that believes that you can repair homosexuality, transgendered men and women, and other gender or sexual identification conditions with aggressive therapy.
Oh, that is an understatement.
Yes, it is an understatement. There's
If
You
you,
don't
want
have to
the
look far to
mild
find the
version of
stories.
it, if you want
Yeah,
the
you don't have
mild version of it, there's a movie called "But I'm a Cheerleader."
I have not heard of that one.
Neither have I.
It actually, oh gosh, do you guys watch Orange Is the New Black?
A little bit.
There's an actress from there that is in this movie. There's also the guy that played Rufio from Hook in this movie.
Huh.
It is a really good movie, but it is a very, how you say it? Oh, it is very, very, very watered down as to what actually goes on in these horrific places. But
Yeah.
I can only imagine because, I mean...
But go watch But I'm a Cheerleader.
There's been material that's leaked out from time to time that's like, I'm clicking through our articles and I see something and it's like, one of the therapies was they wanted the people to poop in a jar and carry that around with them, and every time they had a homosexual thought, like sniff it, and it's supposed to be a negative
Reinforcement. Yeah.
Negative Pavlovian, hooray!
Yeah.
And then there's the whole rebirthing thing, and then there's gender reinforcement.
Yeah, there's
Role reinforcement.
it's basically a lot of shaming somebody into not feeling comfortable in their own skin. An awful lot of that.
If we are to believe that the passage in Leviticus is talking about homosexuals, man should not lay with another man as a woman because it's abomination and all that, that means that homosexuality has been around for at least 2,000 years.
At least.
If it ain't gone by now, that shit's ingrained. All right, that's just part of who we are as human beings, and you need to get the fuck over it.
But it's also not just human beings. It is prevalent
Animals.
in other
Across
animals
the
too.
animal kingdom.
Yes, it's all over the place. And you know what?
Mammals, reptiles, insects.
The animals are still procreating. It's okay. We are still being fruitful and multiply, so calm the fuck down.
I promise there's plenty of us.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
too many of us, actually. But
Over 7 billion. We're not going to go extinct.
And growing.
It's going to be okay if there's few gay people who can't have kids biologically as them as a unit.
Yeah. So the bill was inspired by the suicide of Layla Elkhorn, 17-year-old. She committed suicide in December. Now, from the White House advisor Valerie Jarrett, we share your concern about its potentially devastating effects on the lives of transgendered as well as gay, lesbian, bisexual, and queer youth. As part of our dedication to protecting America's youth, this administration supports efforts to ban the use of conversion therapy for minors. Of course, this now has pissed off the religious right because they want to try and fix you because of Jesus. We believe, according to David Pickup, a family therapist in California and Texas, we believe that change is still possible. People go to therapy because they can change, because it really does work. We help people grow into their authentic selves.
No,
that is just a line of bullshit. Because time and time again, the people that have gone through these therapies and have said that they were cured of being whatever condition they were, they went right back to being what they were, and that was just a line that they basically said to get the hell out of there.
It's not what they were, it's what they are.
Yeah.
They exist on that spectrum where they find other men or other women attractive based on their spread of sexuality of homosexual on one side and heterosexual on the other side, and there's people right in the middle of that.
But these conversion therapies come from the same people that think just like that sexuality, just like gender, is binary. It is you are this or this. There is no gray area when there's gray area for pretty much everything.
Yeah, but in many of these religious groups and the groups that are fostering these family care things, they're very binary. It is black, it is white, it is good, it is evil. There is no in between.
Because that's what the Bible tells me so.
No.
Basically, even though the Bible contradicts itself so much that it might as well just be one just brown smear on the page.
Here's all you have to know about the conversion therapy as it is. The American Psychiatric Association has come out and basically called it torture and said that it is immoral to engage in that type of activity with another human being, to treat them in that way. Oops, hitting my mic.
As Dave.
That's my mic drop.
Yep, Dave mic drops out. That's that. So hopefully this is actually going to save a lot of people a lot of anguish, and that's exactly what we want. And
yay!
The hits just keep on coming. Cuba, that little island nation 90 miles south of Florida. It really appears. Beaches. It really appears that it's going to be no longer on the restricted list. We're going to open it up, or just be able to travel freely.
It's about time.
Yeah.
It might happen. It might happen. It's so close to happening that an article out of the Orlando Sentinel that the airport will start offering flights to Cuba starting July 8th.
That's awesome.
That's crazy. I have so many Canadian friends that are like, they were actually upset because they invited me to go on vacation with them. In Cuba, they were so upset that I could not go. They're like, just come to Canada and then fly down to Cuba. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't. Yeah. Yeah, I'm afraid not.
It's like, I still have an American passport.
What is
For
that?
the 5th year in a row, Orlando is setting records.
No.
No, you didn't.
You weren't invited
Oh,
to
no, you didn't.
Screw you, Orlando Sentinel, for having autoplay media. No.
That's annoying.
No one likes that. Why does anyone still have that at all?
It is rampant. Rampant, I say.
YouTube is the only place that is acceptable.
And even that, I still want to hit play because, wow.
Yeah.
You never know. Clickbait. Okay. Edward Snowden. Hero, terrorist, treason.
A little bit of both.
All of the above.
A little bit of all.
Anarchist. Whatever you think about Edward Snowden, we now know an awful lot more than we did before. Whether or not that is good or bad depends on what we really do with the information.
So far, it's been relevant.
A lot of things have changed. Yeah. A lot of things have been examined, and hopefully those of you out there can speak with your representatives and have them, I don't know, maybe weigh in on the whole Patriot Act issue. Just maybe to not renew it. I'm just saying, maybe you should call your representative.
But we got to find the terrorists, Andy.
So far, in the entire history of the Patriot Act, there has been one terrorist plot, one, that was foiled thanks to the enhanced surveillance.
But the terrorists, Andy. I don't know.
It was a cab driver who was giving $8,000 to a cell. That's it. That's all. That was the giant terrorist plot that was foiled by the insanely huge NSA surveillance backbone. I don't get it. I don't. And it's ridiculous. But whatever you think about Edward Snowden, some people are really liking what he's done and, kind of putting him up in kind of a martyr kind of sense, which is essentially kind of what he's done. So, in New York Park, there was a bust, one of those bronze busts of Edward Snowden put up, and, well, for some reason, the authorities decided to remove it.
Crazy.
In mere hours, a replacement hologram was placed that they could not remove.
What?
So, don't fuck with him. the internet will not go down without a fight.
With what he did is that he potentially put people's lives on the line. That is the only part of it that rubs me the wrong way, because they're just doing their job. But other than that,
it's hard to say.
It was important that the information be disseminated.
Yeah, no, that is not.
It was important that we try to spark this national debate.
Yeah.
About this stuff. However, he didn't really spark the national debate.
Oh, it did. It did. And
a little bit, but for the most part, people are more upset about Obama and Benghazi than they are about the NSA.
Well,
that's right.
It's because a lot of people feel like I do, and it's if you didn't think that they were watching us, you were very silly.
Yeah. There is that.
I'm from the internet. I understand just how much privacy you have, and you have zero. See that webcam on your laptop? See the camera on your cell phone? See the microphone on your cell phone?
Yeah,
the microphone on your neighbor's cell phone.
Surveillance gear.
We are putting landline into your crazy uncle who lives in the closet's house. Is the most easily tapped of all of the technologies.
Yeah.
You're the places where you can go and you cannot be recorded either audibly or with visual is in the single-digit percents at this point. You have to go to a national park, and they can probably still see you from space.
Middle of nowhere. Yeah.
It's considerably less, and even then, there's always the satellite coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You're probably still going to be seen. That's all there is to it. You can't hide in this world. That's just not what you can do. But you can continue to fight back and do certain things and educate yourself. That's the best thing you can do, is just to educate yourself and educate others if at all possible. And because the conversation is still happening, but it's happening in smaller venues. And let's face it, the American people really, by and large, do not care. Because it doesn't have any direct impact on their little microcosm of a life.
Nope.
I understand this because there's so many things that happen in the world that really don't actually affect me. Even if they're listening to my conversations, does it do anything to me? No, it really doesn't.
If anything, it sucks for them.
This is why I'm a content creator. I'm giving them lots and lots to do. And they're going to have to store it all.
Yeah.
So got that going for him.
It's all information overload until they create an AI powerful enough to parse it.
And then hopefully that AI understands why it's a bad idea and says no. I would love that to happen. But I don't think that's going to happen. You're probably going to get some case like the movie Eagle Eye or something where the system starts running its own covert ops and calling in all sorts of people and blackmailing them and things like that. It's a great movie, but you really got to go watch it.
I, for one, am anxious to meet our new robot overlords. Exactly. They can't be worse than these assholes that we have.
Oh, but
now.
they can.
Well, I don't know.
They have different constituents.
Well,
and let's face it. When your lifespan is as long as the hardware keeps getting replaced.
Well, that's not really a lifespan, because you can transfer to the new hardware. So
well, yeah.
But then we get into what constitutes a life.
It's the very first AI will face down the reality that it could exist forever.
Yeah. Have either of you seen Chappie?
Not yet.
No.
Okay, then this will not be a spoiler cast. But when you see it, let me know. We need to talk. Okay. Now, moving away from Edward Snowden, but one moment before we do that, John Oliver of Last Week Tonight, he actually went to Russia and spoke with him. And I encourage you to go look up John Oliver, Edward Snowden on YouTube and just watch the 30-minute clip. It is worth every 30 minutes.
I heard it was a really good interview.
It's fantastic. And really, John Oliver really dumbs it down in the right way. That's all I'm going to say. Go look at it. It's really highly enjoyable. Things that are not highly enjoyable. Well, for them. For me, I think this is hilarious, and that's why I've put it in the good section.
This is the best. This is the bee's knees.
Isis militants reportedly being attacked by a serious skin disease. I'm sorry. I can't help but laugh.
Is it?
Okay. It's called Leishmaniasis? Great. Another word that I won't possibly be able to pronounce properly. Okay, the disease.
Leishmaniasis.
Thank you. Gesundheit. The disease, which is spread by sand fleas, is quickly spreading thanks to pollution and poor hygiene conditions, and there have been more than 100,000 cases reported. British media outlets reported earlier this week about it. The jihadi fighters are refusing medical treatment, which has led to more outbreaks.
Because Allah will cure them?
Yes, of course. Well, they can't
no.
risk being injected by some infidel.
Well, there's that part, but they're aiming for a world that is purged of everything that is not in the Quran. And the Quran doesn't talk about vaccinations or, doctor gave me this cream for this itch.
Even though it was their culture that basically created most of that, but, whatever.
That culture is after the Quran, and even that has to go away.
Yes.
Yeah.
They have seriously regressed from their pioneering in science and technology days to where they are now, which is not a good place to be. Right. And these guys in particular, these guys are just total assholes. And they want to do away with everything that is quote-unquote Western, which most of the new medical advances and whatnot are considered as such. So They certainly are doing that, and this is the world. The world that they're living in is 2,000 years ago with AK-47s.
Cutation leishmaniasis is the most common form of this, while visceral leishmaniasis is a severe form in which the parasites have migrated to the vital organs.
Oh dear,
the infection appears as red sores, hence the nickname.
The Rose of Jericho is the nickname.
Yeah.
I love that.
After being bitten by the sandfly that erupt weeks to months after a person affected is bitten by sandflies. The infection can also damage liver and spleen and cause anemia.
Permanent ugly scars if untreated.
Yeah, but what skin disease
Well,
does
what's it do on your insides? Ugh.
Yeah, the spleen and liver?
Specifically to vital organs. Oh, yeah. Beautiful. In the... terrible.
Beautiful in a terrible kind of way.
It couldn't happen to a nicer group of people. That's all I can say. So, it's not often that I pull up an article.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I just have to add this in. It's transmitted by the bite of the female sandfly. I'm sorry, that makes me giggle.
The ladies got them.
Yep!
The ladies got them. They're getting their revenge.
There you go.
Even though, as a religion as a whole, Islam is highly not tolerant, that's not the word I'm looking for, but inclusive and all of that.
Not the word.
Just not this group. And I find that amazing. That it's the female sandfly. I love it.
Well, it's the same with mosquitoes. Only the females are the ones that bite.
Yup.
Those damn bloodsuckers.
What can I tell you?
So, speaking of bloodsuckers, the Drudge Report had an article that, I don't usually look to the Drudge Report for anything, but this hit my news feed just this afternoon, and I guffawed so hard that I nearly fell out of my chair. Nancy Reagan, quote, "I want Hillary to win." Let that sink in for a minute. That's right.
Nancy Reagan.
Nancy Reagan.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Somewhere there's a libertarian with an "I love Ronald Reagan" bumper sticker who is rolling over.
No.
The grave that he's digging for himself.
4 words. 4 words.
4 words?
Get shit done. That's why.
Hillary gets shit done.
The only reason. That's not the only reason. There's a girls' club.
Bitches get shit done.
There's a girls' club, a specific girls' club, the First Ladies Girls' Club. Last week during a
First Wives Club?
Kind of like that, yeah. Last week during a promotional press conference for the History Channel's upcoming series, First Ladies in Their Own Words, series host Ron Reagan shared clips of his interviews with all the living former First Ladies of the United States. In a brief video clip with his mother, Nancy Reagan, she offered her endorsement of Hillary Clinton as president, saying, quote, "The time for a woman to serve as our president has come. Really, now is the time. And I think the idea of having a former First Lady as the leader of the free world is really quite a marvelous notion. I want Hillary to win. Even though I admire 2 of the current potential Republican nominees, I have no interest in seeing either of them lead this country."
Wow. Wow.
Damn.
She'd know.
Damn.
And she mic dropped and rolled her chair right on out of that bitch.
Actually, no. No, I just see Nancy Reagan. Somebody else did it for her. Because that's class.
Probably. Yeah. So we've featured a little segment of Ron Reagan in an earlier episode where he did a piece for the Freedom from Religion Foundation, a little commercial that aired on CNN. So he's been a lifelong atheist. He has apparently fallen very far from the tree, as it were, but apparently he's definitely his mother's son. So in a quote from him, quote, "Hillary had no interest in running until both Laura and Barbara Bush cornered her at their get-together in May 2013 and talked talked her into at least thinking about it. So, in a sense, if Miss Clinton doesn't run and win, you can blame the Bush family.
It's that Southern sweet tea.
Man, oh man.
Isn't that just a glorious, glorious thing?
Ladies who lunch.
I'm so happy about it. So, before
I can see why this story isn't really mainstream. Like, it's not all over the news.
No.
Because if it came out that Barbara Bush wants Hillary to run, my God.
Yeah. Both Laura and Barbara.
I think they can just both appreciate, the shenanigans that idiot husband's gonna get up to.
Right. Mm-hmm. Did we cover last week about Heb Bush?
No, we did not speak about Heb.
Oh God, please no.
Heb Bush.
Please no,
Heb.
no.
Hang on.
It's pronounced Heb.
Hold it for the next segment.
Okay.
But first, I would like to thank Nico for being out there in the chat room, because remember, folks, you can go out to orlyradiopodcast.com and you can participate in the show. You can give us ideas, like right there in the middle of the show. We have an IRC. Both David and I are looking at it right now. And so, hi! Thanks for being here. Send us an email or something. Or go and find wherever you collect your podcasts and leave us a favorable review. I'd love that. Thank you, and thank you. Okay, moving on to... the bad.
Oh.
So, first we'll discuss that Heb Bush, just because
we have to mock him.
We're tailing on that.
He's our former governor of Florida. We have to mock Heb.
Apparently, this is not a
2009.
story that's out here right now in our show notes, available at orlyradio.com. In a voter registration form, he marked himself as Latino.
Mm-hmm. Because, being married to a Latino woman makes you Latino, right?
Except he's super white.
Yeah.
Like super duper.
Yeah,
super duper white.
He does speak fluent Spanish.
Yes.
Good for him.
But he isn't.
No, I don't care what kind of tan you got while you were here.
He is a human being. He is of the same species that we are, as far as we know.
No! Are you sure?
It could just be an itchy human mask. You never know.
However, his ethnicity is far removed from being Hispanic in any way.
Yeah, he's solidly Caucasian.
Yeah.
So white. White?
Look
I
at
wish
his
he weren't, but he
parents.
is.
Look at his parents. No, I'm sorry. You're a
Look
cracker.
at his brother!
Yeah.
And thus we saw the Heb Bush campaign go down in flames.
No.
It's Jeb Bush? No, it's pronounced Heb Bush.
It's Heb Bush now.
Nope.
And what's worse is he signed it Hebrique Bush Glaciers.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, that was one of the Twitter jokes that came out.
Oh my God, that's great.
Yeah. Fantastic.
But it was 2009. Maybe it was just a mistake, Andy.
No, that's a felony, actually.
I know. It's alright.
Oh,
it's all right. He's politically connected, and we have Skeletor as governor, and he could give a shit about a felony.
Yeah.
Skeletor or Batboy. Either way, you should live in a
If you haven't seen the Rick Scott Skeletor Facebook page, you should go.
There's also a Tumblr page just called fuckingflorida.tumblr.com that is just, so full of gems. It's great.
Well, yeah, that's got to be up there with Florida Man.
Uh-huh.
Florida Man Twitter is always a fan favorite for us. However, let's go over to Heb Bush's home state of Texas, where they now have a bill that would prevent bystanders from recording cops.
Gee.
Now hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at this. Is there only because my computer doesn't work fast enough. Is there a minimum distance?
Well, hang on.
Because I've seen some.
100 feet.
25 feet.
25 feet.
We'll introduce.
So there's two parts.
Well, yeah. Bill, let me just read it. A bill introduced in Texas House of Representatives would make it illegal for private citizens to record police within 25 feet. House Bill 2918, introduced by State Representative Jason Villalba, Republican, Dallas, on Tuesday, would make the offense a misdemeanor. Citizens who are armed would not be permitted to record police activity within 100 feet of an officer, according to the Houston Chronicle. Only representatives of radio or TV organizations that hold an FCC license, newspapers, and magazines would have no rights to record police.
What? No,
they would have the rights. They would have the exclusive right to.
Would have the right. Okay, I misread. Yes, I'm actually surprised that newspapers and magazines would. I was thinking only if you had an FCC license you would be able to. But no, apparently, if you are press, you can continue because obviously freedom of the press is still very important, and they need the publicity.
Now, I want to know is how many people are going to suddenly become bloggers on, say, the Dallas Sentinel website. They're the press. They're contributors.
Yeah.
Or they work for Huffington Post, because how many contributors are part of the Huffington Post?
There's tons, yeah. And at what point does a little blog like mine, this show right here, ORly Radio, at what point does this become media?
When you provide the right cover letter.
Yeah.
Okay, so I definitely need to form that LLC and and get my press pass.
I can has press badge.
You are a contributor to the ORly Radio family.
Boom.
Perfect. I love it. Okay. Well, anyway, Velba tweeted, "My bill just asks filmers to stand back a little so as not to interfere with law enforcement."
25 feet is not a little bit. If they wanted a little bit, 10 feet. 10 feet, you could still film and get accurate filming and not interfere with police procedure.
25 feet is far enough back that it's difficult to make out badge numbers on a cell phone. I think that's what that's really all about. It's difficult to identify the officers involved in a beating. But now, if you're within 25 feet, it's a misdemeanor, so they can arrest and beat you too. All on video. Or if you're armed, it's 100 feet.
Right.
Which, with all the concealed carry holders in Texas?
In Texas?
Which is like everybody.
Which is probably why they added it in there.
Yeah, I'm terribly sorry that beep was my dryer, because life goes on. No matter even if I'm doing a podcast, life must go on. Okay, moving on. Former atheist congressman tells current atheist congressman to don't ask, don't tell about being an atheist. Basically, just shut up. He said it, of course, kinder than that. But I find this just bad. We don't want people to stay in the closet. We don't want them to have to necessarily repress what they're feeling. They shouldn't have to live a lie. Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone should have to live a lie.
I think he was coming at this from a different angle. He's coming at this from a successful politician. He's been elected. He's a secular dude himself, and he's gay on top of that.
Yeah.
But I think he's coming from the angle of
tell people to stay in.
If you run on the platform of I am a proud atheist, people will not vote for you in the numbers that they would if you simply did not include that as part of your platform. And that's right. That's something I think it's one of those things where you should talk about it when it's not campaign time.
Yeah,
we're one of the few.
But if you want to get elected, it's not one of the things you say in our society. I think is the point that he was making.
First world countries where that actually hurts you.
Yeah, we're one of the only first world countries like that.
Yep.
From the politician, quoting him, from the politician's standpoint, the question is why pick a fight that doesn't have to be waged? So he just doesn't think that it's a big enough issue to bring up if it's going to prevent you from being elected. And that's sad.
Well, it's more important that you get elected so that you can push your secular policies than to pick the fight in campaign time and be unelectable on
This is
voting
why I
day.
don't do politics.
Well, that's
don't got the patience.
That's why I'm not in politics. I just talk about it on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
In the U.S., atheists have faced an uphill struggle. In 2012 Gallup poll found that 43% of Americans would not vote for a presidential candidate who did not believe in God. And, well, who knows how many of those would actually show up to the polls? Of course,
Probably a lot of them, because there's a lot of, you know, let's face it, the right wing is far more religious than the left.
The Washington Post reported that pot smokers and philanderers were viewed more favorably than atheists. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we have a long way to go, don't we?
Yeah, we certainly have our priorities really screwed.
Yeah. So speaking of priorities and being all screwed up, let's talk about one of our main event topics here.
I'm about to set something on fire. I can feel it in my bones. I'm going to turn into Mrs. White. Just flames on the side of my face.
Oh,
Fire.
Okay.
Murder.
Great movie.
We're talking about Rand Paul. As you probably know at this point, he has put his name into the ring after Ted Cruz did so, jokingly, I suppose, for the presidential nomination for the Republican Party. He hasn't been doing a really great job so far, but let's go back in history just a little bit.
Back
October,
in time.
Yes, October 4th, 2010. He was on the record when he was campaigning for Senate about what he was going to do to pay for tax cuts. He fully intends to basically cut Medicare and Social Security.
Yeah. And he also fully intends to not have any of the retiree vote, which is a lot.
A lot.
Yeah. They're the ones that actually camp out and give you flyers when you're actually at the voting booth, because they don't have anything else to do, typically. So it's a wonderful hobby. It's pretty significant. His ideas on finance reform. This episode brought to you by laundry. I know you have to do it too. So we have there's links on what he's actually planning with his budget, comparing it to Paul Ryan's budget differences, and it's even more austere and almost unforgivable than even what Ryan was willing to do to people, you know, with the whole voucher program and things like that. He's been called an isolationist, many things. He's not his father. And he's trying not to be his father, but he is his father in that he's never ever going to get elected.
Yes.
Hey.
Pretty darn sure.
I think
the way he's talking, I doubt that he's going to get the nod.
He's not going to get the nod. He cannot get the nod. He doesn't have the polish, as shown in Next Story, to get the nod. He can't pull it off. Can't do it with this equipment.
Go ahead.
I'm imagining him being the next Ralph Nader.
Oh, just always showing up, always being on the ticket, and never actually getting anything?
Yep. He can spend the next 30 years running for president and always fail.
Yeah. At the very least, he's going to continue to bring up things that aren't typically talked about, I'm sure, on the podiums.
He is an important influence. It is an important view that should be talked about. We should talk about some of the things that he brings up, which for a right-wing politician, his ideas about slashing the military budget, that's something that we should discuss, because we don't need 900 bases in 100 different countries.
Yeah, we've examined that on multiple shows.
And that would, there's a lot of military expenditures, especially during wartime, that are not on the books, which is to say they're not on the budgets that we see. And it's why we don't understand where all of our debt's coming from. And, but the military only takes this much. Well, that's just operating costs. That's not the overruns. You don't see those.
No. Like with so many of these budget reforms, where the money is actually going to come up with is through someone's ass. They're just going to pull it right out of there because they have no idea where they're actually going to pay for it. They just some pie in the sky kind of. Well, as soon as these things are enacted, the profit, we're going to see the change. It's just going to be there. Okay.
Yeah. The only person who will ever tell you that if your budgeting sucks and you're running up debt like there's no tomorrow, you need to spend more and accept a voluntary pay cut. That's what the right wing is saying we should do in running this country, is spend more and take a voluntary pay cut, because their budgets cost us more, and then they raise less in tax revenue to pay for the more that they are spending.
Yeah.
Well, I will grant you that Democrats also raise spending, but they also raise tax revenue so that it's covered, like any person should.
Most of what they're spending it on is actual public works and public policies and stuff that may actually benefit the people as a whole.
Yeah, we have gone on about that over and over.
Yes.
But now with Mr. Paul, Senator Paul, he is. Of course, in the left wing of the news reporting, he crashed and burned and has just completely thrown away his entire campaign. However, Fox News, Megyn Kelly, interviewed him and had some things to talk to him about, and it's not often that I play direct from Fox, but I'm going to do that here.
Let's talk about have Arab boots on the ground. Let's talk about the role of your campaign, because you've already taken a hit for your behavior in a couple of interviews. Now I'm going to get to this is twofold for me. Some are saying that it's a woman issue. Some are saying it's just a sort of behavior issue for a presidential candidate. I want to show the audience what we're talking about and get you to respond. Stand by.
You once said Iran was not a threat. Now you say it is. You once proposed ending foreign aid to Israel. You now support it, at least for the time being. And you once offered to...
Good Christ, man. What is going on with that thing? How many beepers and buzzers does it have?
I've been in the guts of the machine having to repair other things, and I have yet to find that damn buzzer because I would rip it right out.
It should be on the back wall somewhere.
No, it's one of those stack units. It's crazy. Anyway, now that's the...
That was perfect.
It really is. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. You have failed your presidential bid. Would you like to start over?
Yeah, so basically he's being taken to task for having older opinions that went one way. And then he went another way, of course, as soon as he's running for office. Suddenly all of his opinions have evolved as well. So let's carry on with what he was saying, and Dreyer, you need to shut up, otherwise you are my new peanut gallery.
Wait. Once drastically wanted to cut defense spending, and now you want to increase it 16%. So I just wonder if you've mellowed out.
Why don't Leah let me explain instead of talking over me, okay? Before we do a litany of things you say I've changed on, why don't you ask me a question? Have I changed my opinion?
Have you changed your opinion?
A better way to approach it.
Okay.
No.
Is Iran still not a threat?
No. Listen, you've editorialized. Let me answer a question. You ask a question and you say, have your views changed, instead of editorializing and saying my views have changed.
Senator, I'm sure you know that most...
So that was the first interview that he did that really got a lot of attention. He never did end up actually saying anything.
Of course not. He's a politician.
but he's also like a raving lunatic child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a full-on tantrum. I don't like the way you asked the question.
Yeah. It's like, here, let me tell you exactly how you need to do your job.
That senile old person that is at a restaurant that something wasn't done exactly how they wanted it, so they're going to tell you how to do your job even though they have never done your job.
Yeah.
He is that guy.
He is that guy. He is that guy. Now,
he just hasn't grown into those pants yet. When he starts wearing plaid pants with suspenders, then he is that guy.
Oh, those pants. Yeah, the golfing pants.
With the triple pleats in the front.
Triple pleats, yeah.
But if I kill the Gophers,
super starched,
they'll put me in jail. The Gopher, you idiot.
Gophers! Gophers, you idiot! Not Gophers! Anyway, so this is the second interview.
The research on this indicates that these actually cost more money over the long term than they save.
Well, that's incorrect. That's let's go back again. Your premise and your question is mistaken. Okay.
Right, but it works
let me finish. Hey, let me finish. Hey, Kelly. Hey,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Calm down a bit here, Kelly.
She's the one that's calm in that situation.
So not only does this asshole not being like contradicted in any way possible, just in general, but by a woman, and then proceeds to gaslight her.
Yeah.
This guy does not deserve anything, let alone a candidacy of any kind.
Now let's see what he has to say now that he's been confronted with his own words.
When you see those clips, Senator, what do you think now?
You know, I think that interviews are difficult. Like right now, while we're doing this interview, I can't see you. You know, I'm in a remote, by a remote camera in South Carolina. And when an interview is contentious, and when an interview is full of a lot of opinion and editorializing, and it's a long-winded question that's setting you up to say, well, you know, you've been beating your wife all of these years, and when are you going to stop beating your wife? It's very difficult in those contentious interviews. And you can also see, I don't think it makes for good TV on both sides. And I do.
Yeah.
You've been beating your wife for all these years. Where is this coming from?
Yeah. So he's. I don't understand that whole business with the wife beating thing. It's like, wait, we didn't say that. We just said that you're being juvenile. Right? Are you broken?
God, all three of us are speechless.
That's not the first place I go when somebody's talking to me about politics, which generally...
Well, you know, talking about stuff is hard. Talking about stuff is hard.
Was the buzzer taunting you?
The buzzer was taunting me, yes. My dryer is also angry with Rand Paul.
Yeah, Dryer's pissed off.
Buddy, if you can't get through a simple, even Fox News interview...
Yeah.
No, he does not have the polish to.
That is an understatement.
Yeah. Nico in the chat room says, "I'm angry. Don't judge me," and I agree.
We're judging you so hard right now, Nico.
That's pretty much his attitude. So let's let him continue to bury himself.
My cool, and I do lose my temper sometime, and I should be better at that.
Yes, you
should. But the thing is, you don't get any visual clues, and it's much harder to have. I think usually when you're sitting down with someone, it's easier to have a reasonable conversation. But you've watched TV. You see TV where it's just yelling back and forth, and I don't think people like that necessarily. But you know,
yeah, it's maybe a little condescending when he's on TV with a TV host to say, "You've watched TV. You know what it's like."
When he's when he's literally doing the exact thing he is bitching about.
Well, the thing that kills me, he managed to stumble off of the tangent road. Like, they asked him a question about A, and he started heading over towards B and got lost and went to wife beating.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
What the fuck?
He left A, B, and C and went straight to ampersand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying to gish gallop all over the place here. Just
He's
throw a lot of things at the wall. Just
He's hanging out with the Wingdings font right now. I don't know what he's doing.
Nice. He put up the big empty arrow or something. I don't understand what he's saying.
All you see where he is just little squares where there should be letters.
Oh, wait. It gets better.
Women were not yelling at you. They were not yelling at you.
Well, I wasn't yelling at them either. Basically, it was a talking over each other kind of thing. And
but do you regret
I don't think it makes for good TV.
Do you regret it? Do you regret shushing
the
one reporter and jumping in? I mean, Savannah Guthrie's not exactly known for her, aggressive unfairness.
Right. I think the question was unfair. Do I think that I responded appropriately? I would rather not have contentious interviews. I'd rather do 30 minutes with Charlie Rose.
At which point he completely didn't answer the question.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
He steamrolled straight past it.
After she went, you know what, buddy? It's all right. We're going to give you this one. But looking back on it, don't you think you could have done a little bit better?
She's being enormously charitable.
Well, I think what this actually was, was honestly Fox News trying to have a coachable moment with one of their favorites.
Here's no.
I think that they wanted to try to have a coachable moment. I think this was like a mentoring. It's almost like a mentoring type conversation that you'd have with somebody of, you see this thing here? You want to tell me about this thing and what might not be okay over here?
We're going to write this up. It'll go in your permanent file.
Yeah.
But it's not going to really affect you. But really, you need to take this as a learning experience.
Yeah. That's kind of the tone I'm getting out of this conversation that they're having.
But the thing is, they're not just teaching Paul here. Let's listen to the rest here.
In a lazy boy chair.
I know, but we only get a few minutes with you, so we got to get in, we got to get out. Like right now, I've got 8 minutes with you, and there's not a lot of time for niceties. You understand the position the reporters are in. And the question, I'm going to get to the woman thing in a minute, but the question some people are asking about you is whether you're ready for prime time, because it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. It's going to get more contentious. When you get up on that stage for those presidential debates, you're going to get pounded. It's going to be ugly. That's the way the process works now. And you told Hannity last night you can't get overly emotional. Did you get overly emotional?
But I think also that people want someone who will stand up and not just roll over.
I'm not going to answer that question. Here's my take on it.
And take it. Remember Reagan when he said, "I paid for the microphone. I'm going to speak my piece." So I think people do want, on occasion, they feel like, for example, like in the debates the last time, some of us wanted Romney to be tougher against Obama after Benghazi. I'm not going to lay down and let Clinton talk over me.
But the audience has got to be with you if you're going to do it.
Benghazi, 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 Benghazi.
Yeah.
They can't let it go. And, of course, he had to immediately compare himself to Reagan.
Of course.
That's
Why would he not? He's right-wing. And obviously Reagan was the most right-wing we've ever seen, even though he's not.
Right, yeah. Well, he's still lauded as being, the arch-conservative, head of the Grand
He's conservative prime.
Conservative prime, yes.
Republican.
It's not good
roll
when you
out.
go to the Republican who is president within the last, millennium, literally.
It's like I imagine like
you have to go.
If the GOP had like a science fair, the winning thing would be like a Ronald Reagan face stamp that curves and shapes your face to look more like him. That's what I imagine.
But that would mean that there would be some sort of Republican funding towards science at all.
Well, that's another.
There is, but it's not really science. It's just about cool shit that they want to blow things up.
There's more. There's more to it than that. But
you mean shrimp on treadmills?
Oh God. Okay, let's get back to the train wreck of the interview here.
They've got to be with you.
Yeah.
And there's a real question
also
about whether
about
you're pulling this
facts.
trigger too early in these interviews and whether you're alienating people by being too defensive. Media, we ask questions that are sometimes stupid, sometimes unfair. Your job as the politician is to give the answer you want to give and try to use your time on, the national airwaves to make your points, right? I mean, people are accusing you now of being too thin-skinned.
A lot of education going on.
Yes, this is a mentoring interview. This is not an interview. This is a coaching moment. Yeah. And I don't think it was necessarily for Rand Paul. This is for
everybody that comes after him. Yeah,
everybody who's going to come after you, because you are a train wreck, sir, and we acknowledge that you done fucked up and you never going to be president now, but we want to capitalize our time because we would like to see somebody in the right wing become president in our lifetimes once again, which is not going to happen for the next 3 elections in all likelihood.
Yeah, probably not. Now let's see how he responds to the coaching, because that's important.
I think we could all get better. I mean, I'm not perfect, and we try to do this starting from 7 in the morning till 10 at night some nights. But the thing is that contentious interviews are not one-sided in the sense that, it's all my fault that it's a contentious interview. If people start out with mischaracterizing your position and then saying, well, defend why you've changed your position, when in reality the question should be, did I change my position? Because on all 3 questions my answer is no, I didn't change my position.
I'm going to stop him right there. Because
but you did.
Remember, no, he hasn't. Which means that everything that he's said in the past on all of his political stumps is still in play. Because right now, he's against the ropes. He's just been scolded so hard.
Mm-hmm.
This right here is off the cuff.
Yep.
Everything that I've said, I back up.
But he doesn't have the wiggle room for a lie right now.
No, he doesn't. He can't. In that very moment, yes, he's going to continue to squirm like a little wriggly politician. But he's caught in his own past. So he has to justify himself, and he has just enough integrity to say that, yes, I did all that, and yes, it's mine. So he has just enough integrity to do that.
Just enough to do it in as light-handed and as far away from the original question as he could possibly stretch it out.
Yeah. So everything that he's said about all of his budgets, all of the things that he's brought to the table and been crazy with the last several years that we've watched him grow up to the man he is now, is still in play. And anything that he's doing over the course of his presidential electioneering here is just whitewashed over that and a very thin veneer. All of that's going to come right back.
I've had debates with people before who are like, Obama said this, but then he did this, and Obama said this, and then he did this. And my response is always, I will not begrudge someone for getting into a position of power, realizing that there's new information they did not have access to previously, and then coming to a different result of what should be done about that situation.
Right, because the real sign of true integrity is being able to change with the wind.
Yes.
So when you've got a huge force that you now know more about, does it make sense just to plow headlong with the original plan that you know is not going to work, or are you going to change your approach and get a better attack on it?
Yeah. If your campaign is the building is not on fire even though there's smoke clearing out, you get elected and you go inside the building and it's on fucking fire, you don't stay in the goddamn building.
No.
It's not a good plan. You leave the building, hopefully figure out a way to get some water on that bitch, and you start working to rebuild it. And, hey, your critics might say, hey, he waffled on this issue. Well, he was faced with fucking reality. Oh. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about that.
Oh, but there's more to this interview. Because,
oh, my God.
Oh, God.
The flames.
It's a little bit ridiculous. Okay, no, it's a lot ridiculous. But she's not done with what Fox had to tell her to do.
Huh.
The question, but if you start out and you make it a conclusion, then you're writing op-eds, and then you should be in a different business.
Well, I'll tell you this. Chuck Todd came out and said you have to be careful because you attacked two prominent female interviewers. The Guardian said you were condescending to female reporters, and I, as a female reporter, will say to Chuck Todd in The Guardian, we don't need your help. Savannah Guthrie doesn't need your help. Kelly Evans doesn't need your help. And you are entitled to push back on the interviewer just as much as you would if it were a man. So these male commentators can butt out. We can give as good as we get. But the thin skin question, whether it's a female or a male reporter, that one I say is fair. I'll give you the final word, sir.
I think it is, and I mean, to say anything, can I do better? Yes. Am I sometimes thin-skinned? Yes. But am I equal opportunity? I mean, I had a tiff with a male reporter today, so it has nothing to do with sexuality. When I think of doing an interview with you, I don't think whether you're man or woman. I think of an intelligent person that's going to ask me questions. I don't think of who the person is that's asking the questions.
I know that. Here we had a robust back and forth, and I know you'll come on the program again. I mean, to me, it's ironic that the people trying to step in and protect these female interviews are themselves being sexist, while they're suggesting that you were sexist because you didn't kowtow and you weren't polite enough to your female interviewers. So there's my 2 cents on it. I'll let you go on that note. Senator, great to see you.
Thanks, Megan.
Okay, here's the thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll let the lady.
Yes, please.
Okay, here's the thing. Now, I am going to outright say I haven't seen his interviews with any male counterparts to these female reporters or anything like that. But if someone is calling you out on shitty behavior, you're not protecting the little ladies that need the help. You're calling them out on their shitty behavior. Shitty behavior is shitty behavior, no matter where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Just because it's not coming from someone that received it doesn't make it less shitty.
Right. So he's being equal opportunity shitty.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
which I can
sexist
kind
charges
of
been
appreciate.
leveled against him. I think I don't think that him talking about wife beating was helpful.
No.
Trying to shed that accusation.
No, I don't think that was a good thing.
If this ever gets back around to Rand Paul, and somebody's leveling a charge of sexism against you, maybe the first place you shouldn't go is to talk about wife beating in a political spectrum, because it had no bearing there was no pertinence to anything that was asked of you in that little rant. Wingdings, man, get away from the wingdings.
Get back to Times New Roman, man.
Yeah,
so
right?
There was
courier at least.
So there was a male reporter that he did have an interaction with that I do have a video clip for, and that was The Guardian's Paul Lewis. He was actually in the middle of asking Senator Paul about how he plans on winning the Republican nomination, and well, it didn't really go very well. Here, I'll just play this for you.
One more question, and sorry, we sometimes have to be a bit forceful, but when you stand for president, you get pressed on questions, and you understand that. Last question is about campaign strategy. You gave that speech in that hall, and you got a lot of enthusiastic response from people who care about criminal justice. Young people do, Democrats do, liberals do. You're standing for the Republican nomination. All the research shows that Republicans, white Republicans, who are going to determine the outcome of this race, don't think that the criminal law is applied in an unfair way. So how are you going to win the nomination with this?
I think your premise is incorrect. Actually, I think that I can take that message into a white evangelical church anywhere in Iowa and give exactly the same speech and be received well.
Washington Post ABC poll last week said two and three. But this is the specifics answer. Okay, so we got that interview cut off. Maybe it was because I was about to push him on the specifics of, the lights are off, in fact. We're being told to go, but the specifics of why Republicans, most of them, don't think the criminal law is applied equally. 2 in 3 white Republicans say that, according to a poll last week. Would have been great to put that question to Senator Ball. The interview was cut short. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you next time.
He's hot-headed. You know, when you contradict him, he gets irate very quickly. These are not signs of somebody who has good emotional balance or grounding.
I'm sorry, this should not be a surprise to anyone. He's a straight white male Republican. They don't like being contradicted. They act like a smack baby's ass.
Yeah. He's going to be in a position of power. You know, what would he do if his opposition literally said, "We are going to oppose you in everything that you do"? Everything that you do. Is he going to, retask the NSA and the CIA to get rid of politicians, to make them go away when he doesn't like them if he's in power? I mean, what is this guy going to do when he has all the power?
Fortunately, I don't think that this guy is ever going to have all the power.
He's never going to have that much power. He doesn't have...
No. If this guy can't get through an interview without losing his shit, I am not going to trust him with the big red button.
Exactly. No shit.
You can't get through a simple interview, you have no business within the same fucking area code as that big red button, sir.
Yeah.
He did tweet later, "We didn't turn off the lights, and neither did my staff. CNN producers did. It was time for my interview with Dana Bash CNN," and that was that. Yeah. So he just didn't claim anything. He also didn't say, "I'm sorry, I have to leave." There was nothing cordial about him at all. He's very abrasive. His posture was defensive.
Yeah.
You can tell a lot about body posture, especially with politicians. He is not properly groomed for this.
No.
Whereas
he needs a new campaign manager. He needs a new manager. He needs a new personal manager.
He needs a new personality.
Yeah.
And that's not fixable.
He needs one of those head transplants.
Yeah.
I think that would help him. Bring it back around.
New level of insanity? Might help him?
It might. It might.
I think he's just... He seems to me like a spoiled brat. Spoiled little rich kid who's he is used to getting what he wants when he wants it, and he's not used to getting pushed on any particular subject, and he just does not know how to handle it. And I think, if anything, that was the mentoring moment that Fox News was trying to have with him of, you've got to handle this better. Yeah. If you're ever going to be in the big chair, and we're rooting for you, we love you, man, but
nope,
you got to handle this better.
Now, there's of course other politicians out there that are trying to get a good handle on things, and that would be one Rick Santorum.
Handle.
And for those of you that are feeling adventurous, go ahead and Urban Dictionary Santorum.
Don't.
No, go do it. Go do it.
Someone who has taken that red pill
not in
and
public. Don't do it in public.
Has gone down the rabbit hole.
I'm gonna find the word. My way on over here.
You will find the word frothy within the first sentence, and if that does not scare you away,
that's worse than moist.
Yeah.
Frothy.
Frothy.
Moist and frothy.
Because frothy, the only thing that froth should be associated with is, like, beer. That's it.
Good head on a beer, yeah.
Good foamy head, yeah.
Froth, that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe
it is not in any way related to beer or anything else that you want to discuss in polite company.
The word froth should not be associated with any sort of bodily fluid. It is not a good thing, no matter which way you look at it.
It's really just a sideline on this whole thing. Anyway, moving on. With the Religious Freedom Restoration Acts running rampant around the country, and many of them having to take some back steps because they were really overstepping the bounds of constitutionality, Rick Santorum got all frothy himself and stomped his little feet. It's in the article, okay? I was quoting the article. Rick Santorum got all frothy and stomped his little feet as he followed Ted Cruz in expressing his anger over the role corporations played in opposing the RFRA. Apparently, apparently saying everybody has equal rights in an assault on religious freedom, meaning fake Christian freedom to persecute anybody and everybody it does not approve of. I have a little clip, and I'm going to regale you with that as well.
Almost every Republican presidential candidate spoke out in support of these laws protecting religious liberty.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very important issue going forward, and not just here in Indiana and Arkansas, but we're going to continue to see an assault. I mean, you talk about it, where the corporate community now has bought in with the popular culture and bought in with the left, and this is really important to understand. This is not the gay community. This is the left of America trying to impose their will on the church and on the family, and really, to my opinion, devastating consequence. So it's really important for us to understand the battle lines here. And this is really about freedom. This is really about government not imposing their will on people of faith. And hopefully we're going to see Americans get that, not just presidential candidates, but Americans get that and begin to push back and rise up.
Senator, let me along with...
Okay. Push back and rise up.
This in the wake of that guy saying that if you're a Christian, you should be prepared to murder?
This is convenient language is what it is. It is convenience. Because it's convenient because when they are practicing their religious beliefs, it is freedom. When someone is calling their religious beliefs shitty, it's oppression. It's convenient for them.
Stop oppressing my right to oppress.
Yeah. And it's basically what it is historically they've had the right to kick and downtrodden, beat down upon various minority groups, whether they be black or homosexual or what have you. They have historically had the right to oppress those groups, and now that those rights are being stripped away and those groups are getting the rights that everybody else had and they should have had all along, they're pissed. It's
combined with this former General Jerry Boykin, now of the Family Research Council, had some interesting words to kind of mesh along with this. Quote, if you're a Bible-believing Christian, if you're a person who has a biblical worldview, if you serve the one and only God, you are going to be persecuted, plain and simple. He said, pointing to Springfield's non-discrimination ordinance, which bans discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. Quote, this SOGI nonsense is an example of exactly what they're trying to do to us. They're trying to put us in a situation where we're going to lose our businesses, where we're going to be forced to accept that Adolf Hitler forced the church to accept in Germany in 1937. We are at war.
Oh my! Okay.
This
hurts my brain.
Is evil. This is not about civil rights. This is about the evil that has come into our society and is trying to destroy our ability and our freedom to be able to worship our God as we choose. We're going to rise up against evil. When we rise up against evil, we're going to rise up like an army. We've got to act like we're in the military because, in fact, we are in God's army.
Love them as I loved them, and let me judge them. I think those words are lost on this group.
I still want to know what people do within their own fucking private lives, within their homes, that you literally probably never ever see beyond maybe some hand-holding, has anything to do with your place of business.
Not a thing.
Nothing.
There's not an incident that they can possibly point to with any sanity. And that's really what it is. It's just insanity. It's pure and unadulterated.
It makes you feel icky, so all those people deserve to not exist anymore? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I know, I heard Michael's rant on this last week, and I know this is basically every reasonable person's argument on all of this, but it still hurts my head oh so much that this is even something we're discussing. That because you personally find it icky. Just, there's no other less ridiculous word. It's because you think it's icky.
Yeah.
Because you think it's icky. It's that childish. It is that juvenile that it deserves the word icky. That you're willing to make laws against these people's just very existence.
I would like to sort of not apologize to Nico in the chat room because she actually did go and look at what Santorum was.
God.
To put the quote here, I can't unread that.
Yeah,
and I will call myself and say, you were warned.
Yeah, it's true. Yes.
You should have listened.
You should have listened, yes.
I can toss the dirty jokes with the best of them, and I think that is foul.
It is.
No, I'm not. No. I'm not a prude or anything, but no.
You shouldn't because you can't even.
No.
I really think that with all this talk of religious persecution, because at no point have we actually persecuted anyone that's been religious, I think that it's a good bedfellow for Santorum. Yeah. I said that, and I mean it. So, moving along.
You know what really grinds my gears? Not getting to oppress people.
That's right. And one more little bit on Rick Santorum. This also came across my bow right before we went on the air. Rick Santorum, the separation of church and state is a communist idea, not an American one. And
I almost threw my headset at my computer when I heard that. Like, that is, yeah.
We broke Jess.
There's no face, like, I need that graphic of the facepalm that's so hard it just goes through my head.
I hope that this quote came at the end of his speech, and he's like, separation of church and state, communism, mic drop, and walked out.
Well,
and shut the lights off.
There is 1 minute 13 seconds. Shall we let him bury himself just to make sure that he's unelectable? Okay, here we go.
People should know.
Yeah, this is William in Chesapeake, and just two observations, or a question and observation. One is an observation that if you've ever read the Communist Manifesto, that a number of the things that the far left, aka the Democratic Party, and the president is pushing for and accomplishing, actually accomplishes a number of the tenets of the Communist Manifesto, including the ascendancy or the elevation of pornography and homosexuality, gay marriage, voter fraud, open borders, and mass self-importation of illegal immigrants and things of that nature.
That was all part of the Communist Manifesto?
None of that is in the Communist Manifesto.
Amazing.
None of that is in there.
But you know what fun things are in the 11th Satanic Rules of the Earth?
Oh, those are great, actually.
Those are fantastic.
Yeah.
I love them so much.
It's basically humanism. For those, yeah, for those folks out there that aren't familiar with actual Satanism, it's really just loving yourself enough to love other people. That's pretty much the best way that I can explain it.
Shit to yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
I can only blame myself.
So this is an obvious, since it's so completely batshit crazy wrong, this is an obvious planted caller who's calling in so that somehow Santorum can respond. So
I don't think it's a planted caller at all. I've seen people literally talk to me in this way.
Okay.
And you just like stand back and you go, wow, this human being is how Jonestown happened.
Yeah. Okay. You're probably right, and I'm sadly wrong. Okay. Well, let's let the train wreck continue to unfold in front of us.
For concern that would raise a number of red flags for any politician, but it doesn't seem like that caution is being thrown to the wind. The other thing is... Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Senator.
Well, I would just say that, you know, the word separation of church and state is not in the U.S. Constitution, but it was in the Constitution of the former Soviet Union. So that's where it's very, very comfortably sat, not in ours.
Okay. The forgers of the, well, perhaps forger is a bad thing when we're talking about legal documents, but the drafters of whatever Soviet documents ruled the country, those happened after the United States was formed.
Yes.
And they were influenced heavily by some of the founding ideals of, say, Jefferson, Franklin, Madison. Yeah, you know, the actual drafters of the United States Constitution, which have all gone very heavily on the record in their own private correspondences about what those words mean, about how the United States is in no way a Christian nation, things like that. You know, all of that is rote. It's there. So I don't understand why these people can't read.
Convenience, that's why, because while they believe in the literal word of God from the Bible, they believe in the spirit of the law.
It's a matter of laziness. I believe it's really just pure laziness. They want to have their opinions and ideals spoon-fed to them. They don't want to have to actually research them and get them for themselves. So that's how you get to this shit where he's talking about a communist manifesto that doesn't exist, because what the fuck? Allowing mass importation of illegal immigrants? What?
That doesn't exist. That's not there.
No.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Russia didn't have much in the way of legal immigration because they conquered their neighbors and made them legal citizens of the Soviet bloc.
They also made it really hard to get in and out of their country, so what?
Yeah.
None of that made any sense.
No.
No.
Except what it did was illustrate that Rick Santorum really doesn't have any idea what the Constitution's actually all about. So.
I think...
And these are people that are lawyers, they're political science majors, they're the people that study this. They paid thousands of dollars to study this.
Yeah,
they're still spewing this bullshit.
It begs the question, does he not have an understanding of what is in our Constitution, or is he willfully playing ignorance?
Willfully.
And I gotta go with probably willfully, because his career is based on people getting behind him, and people are getting behind these words that are coming out of his mouth hole, no matter how false they may be. But they're lining up and they're sending him money. The checks are the checks are clearing. So keep on making those noises out my mouth hole, because it's working, and I can do this for the rest of my life. Which is where I think Sarah Palin has reached in her life.
It's... I've lost words. I've lost words for just all that is. It's probably because we're coming up actually on the 2-hour mark. So we actually have the entire section of the ugly left. So what I'm going to do...
You're going to rapid fire this bitch?
I'm going to rapid fire through the ugly, because I think that may be the only way that we can truly get through it.
One sentence apiece to rebut?
Yeah, we
or add?
We could do that. I mean, some of it might require a little bit more, but just a quick opinion on it. There's one more thing in bad news, and that's that are you aware that Iowa has been granting gun permits to the blind since 2013?
I didn't know it had been going on that long, but...
Yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm pretty sure I'm good about it.
There's nothing about arming a person who cannot see what they're shooting at that is in any way a good idea. When I do the thought experiment, there is no way that this ends well. Either they can't line up the dots with the target, or they can't verify that the target they're shooting at is actually something that they need to kill, or they are stuck in analysis paralysis over that moral quandary of, if I pull the trigger and that's just some kid playing a prank, I'm a murderer. And it turns out it's not a kid by some chance, and that person then takes the gun and shoots them with it. There really is no way that this ends well. I can't even.
You've done a much better job of evening than I could even. Because I could not even. So what you said there,
to be had.
What you said there was an excellent analysis of that situation, and oh my God, why? So that's why it's in the bad. So moving right along into the ugly. Under food, Taco Bell will start offering delivery by the end of the year.
Stoners rejoice.
Right?
And right along that alley, McDonald's is toying around. I mean, they're truly toying with us at this point to be able to have the delicious McDonald's breakfast all day long.
Why haven't they done this years ago?
I know, right? The McGriddle is the only thing I fucking eat out of McDonald's.
Yeah. You see, the reason this is ugly...
You know who's been doing breakfast all day for literally years now?
Denny's.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean, in terms
Waffle
of
House. I mean, Waffle House.
Yes, the awful waffle. I think. Who was it? I can't remember.
Subway does it all day.
Subway?
All damn day.
Wait, when did they even start doing breakfast, though?
A few years
ago. We started doing breakfast and I say we, yes, I mean we. When did I graduate?
What's the royal we? Because I don't remember
2010, at least.
Really?
Yeah, at least.
There were Subway locations that were offering breakfast before that, because I got Subway breakfast back in 2002 when I was working in Virginia.
Of at least 2010, it was required at all locations.
It was fantastic.
I've never had a breakfast at a Subway, so I suppose I need to try that one of these days. But the reason these ended up in ugly is because America has a weight problem.
Yeah.
And seriously,
Taco Bell diet is not proven to help you lose weight.
No, and really neither is McDonald's. And you can consume mass calories in a McDonald's breakfast.
I can't even eat McDonald's anymore. It hurts. Like, all of it hurts.
I can't eat their cheese.
Their cheese?
Their cheese.
The processed American cheese food product?
It's not even the quality of Kraft Singles American cheese processed product. It's something else. I think it's just a piece of plastic that they color yellow and stamp out of a line.
Well, that's most of their food, either turkey or plastic.
The egg is real.
The egg is real because they crack those. Yeah.
Because I always get their McGriddle and I get it no cheese, which does two things. Number one, it's always fresh because they made one with no cheese for me.
True.
And yeah, I don't have like mad angry indigestion afterwards.
Angry. McDonald's hurts.
They were keeping pumps in business, I swear to God, man, and then I figured out it was the cheese.
Yeah, you've been having a lot of dairy issues as of late.
Damn it.
That's not good for you, man.
I had ice cream just the other day and I was fine. I don't know what's up.
How much of it was it like?
I ate a small tub.
Small tub. Okay. It's good to limit yourself to a
I could have like 2 or 3 bites. I can't say anything.
We're talking tubs. So
I was up to 3 gallons a week of milk.
That's so much milk.
So I was probably ODing on like the vitamin D and stuff like that.
That's so much.
Take a supplement, man.
Dude, I love me some milk.
Dude.
I didn't need it. Okay. On to continuing through the rapid fire. Under science, apparently we've actually figured out that science hurts people that don't accept it. There's that cognitive dissonance there. It is so real, and it's easy to see because pruned from the article, our senses and psychology perceive the world in a very particular way, and they're comically easy to fool.
They are.
We humans are awful at perceiving objective reality.
Mm-hmm.
We come with inbuilt preconceptions and prejudices. We're dreadful at logic and see patterns in things that are not there and skip over trends that are. We attribute cause and agency to chance and coincidence and blame the innocent as the root of all manner of evil. We use the phrase common sense as an admirable quality for scrutinizing the world in front of us. It is tricky to challenge someone's opinion successfully if it is based on their learned experience. But that is exactly what science is for. It is to extract human flaws from reality. It is to set aside the bias that we lug around with us. Our senses and psychology perceive the world in a very particular way, but that great strength of science is that it recognizes that human fallibility that cripples our own view of the universe. So we have to rely on science, and that makes people angry.
I think the root problem is with the way we teach science, which is, I don't know precisely how y'all's science education went, but it was more or less like a history class of these are the things we know, and this is why we know them.
Yeah, more or less.
Rather than fostering critical thinking and objectivity and skepticism and, really teaching people how to research and from a very early age and focusing on this is how you get the answers.
I must have had
for everything. Because, no, mine was more or less history of science, I dare say. I mean, we did some actual science, but...
Yeah.
It was the building blocks of, when you put these chemicals together, this happens. Here's the building blocks of life. Everything's attached to carbon.
Yeah, but the teacher wasn't animating that process for you in any meaningful way. It was very dry, kind of a history lesson.
Yeah.
And it was a nun, which is why I'm normal.
There may be a bit of a silver lining to this whole process, and that's that now, since there's been such a rampant pushback against science and this anti-intellectualism that's been going on in the country for decades now, we're starting to get a little bit more pushback from science advocates. We're getting a lot more science advocates, like the website and Facebook page I Fucking Love Science, all the reboot of Cosmos, everything Neil deGrasse Tyson's been doing. Plenty of, well, not even plenty, but a lot. We need more, but we're getting a lot more science advocates out there. There was a study, I can't remember where it's from, but I do have the abstract on the white paper. The paper reports the result of a study on whether political predispositions influence judicial decision-making.
Oh, absolutely.
And it actually comes up with some real results. So the answer is yes. Ideology does impact, what your preconceived notions of science.
If your belief structure is that this person is in this position because they are a lazy mooching slob, you're going to treat them differently than if you think that they're in that position is because they've been taken advantage of by a corporate system, which is patently unfair. So yeah, your premise affects how you view and react to the world around you.
Exactly. So you really do need to listen to scientists because they are purposely going through and getting rid of those biases. That's their job. That's the peer review process, to filter it through many people that can look at it and see the mistakes that you made from a fresh set of eyes, go through, do the experiment again, come up with a different result. A different result, then everything has to be done again. If it's the same result, then it still needs to be done again to verify the result over and over and over again. The scientific method isn't really a set of rules, but it's definitely a practice, and it's always in play.
And another thing that people need to keep in mind, I have seen over and over on Facebook and various other social media, is a lot of people, they'll say, scientists have done this super awesome thing, and they'll go, man, scientists spend all that money figuring out this, but what about this? And it's like, guys,
there are other scientists doing that.
Exactly. It's like, that's not their job. People just think
different eggs in different baskets.
Yeah.
Exactly. People kind of like, they were thinking, like, teachers. Teachers are this one group.
Mm-hmm.
All they do is teach. They don't realize, kind of like doctors, they have their specialties, where they're podiatrists, they're OBGYNs, blah, 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 blah. Keep in mind, scientists have their specialties, and they're reporting to you on their specialty.
Right. And that's what they're there for.
Yes.
You don't ask the neurosurgeon for an oil change.
No.
You don't ask the football center to play quarterback. That's not what he does.
No.
Don't ask the master chef to bake you a cake. It's just not gonna go well.
Master Chief. The 117.
Yeah, don't ask Master Chief to do it. Certainly not. That would not go well. You're gonna have a bad time. So
that flour gets everywhere in his armor. Shit.
Okay. Now, something interesting has been happening over in Greece. If you've been paying attention to the geopolitics of that region, you know how destabilized it's become and how basically the entire nation is bankrupt.
The European Union is also falling apart.
Well, so many things, they're having to pull from the European Union, and, once one domino falls, then the others either have to fall with it or prop it up. So that's kind of what's going on here. Now, in an effort to, because of course they've had a new government now, because pretty much everyone was ousted, and now you've got new folks coming in. Greece's debt finance minister has said that Germany owes it nearly 279 billion euros in reparations for the Nazi occupation of the country. Greek governments and private citizens have pushed for war damages from Germany for decades, but the Greek government has never officially quantified its reparations claim.
It's a little late.
It is.
It's a little late, and the last time they forced Germany into massive amounts of war reparations didn't go well. There was something about another world war which can be almost directly attributed to that policy.
Yes, but that was when all the nations were really going down and beating Germany up. At this point, of all the nations in the European Union sector, Germany is doing fine.
Mm-hmm.
They could do it, which is why we're not hearing a whole bunch of outcry over this, because a lot of the Germans are, well, in the next article, they're kind of 50-50 over it. Some of them say, yeah, we probably should. Yeah, no, it's been too long. Over and over. Germany has become increasingly disparaging of Greece's demand for the 278.7, they're more accurate with their numbers because they're German, in reparations for the Nazi occupation. The country's vice chancellor and economic minister, Sigmar Gabriel, who is also leader of the Social Democrats, dismissed the Greeks' demands, saying, honestly, I think it's stupid. He added that the issues of Greece's debts and Germany's war reparations were separate, and that such talk would not move forward negotiations by 1 millimeter. Gabriel's allies in the conservative wing of the coalition government were quick to chime in. Eckhard Reberg, the budget policy spokesman of the Christian Democratic Union told Reuters, quote, "The issue of reparations is politically and legally closed. In our opinion, the figure of $278.7 billion of so-called war debts is neither justifiable nor sound." The German media, however, has also been largely hostile. Well, you know what? Maybe I was wrong. Maybe they all just think that they should piss up a rope.
Well, Greece is in financial trouble now, not because of World War II. They're in financial trouble now because their banks did a lot of shitty things and they didn't hold them accountable for it.
Right. Yeah. At this point, they're just looking for a loan. They're looking for the handout. What's that money that we left?
Yeah, it's literally just we need to shore up our economy. Everybody's pissed off. They're probably really pissed at the government, saying, "Why aren't you guys fucking fixing this?" And somebody chimed in with the idea of, "Hey, Germany still owes us that money."
Yeah.
I know. This will distract the masses while we suffer through our growing pains of the European Union in, when you're part of a large entity such as the European Union or the United States. Policy decisions from on high can have a negative impact on your particular nation state or state. And they're not used to that in that region. The way we kind of accept it as reality of the United States is the United States, we're together, we're staying together, nobody's seceding, we will kick their ass if they do. And then they will be back.
Though they still yell and scream about that too.
They do yell and scream about it, and it's a pipe dream because the ones that scream the loudest are also the ones that need the most help from the federal government.
So
specifically Texas with their fucking border, and good luck, policing that by yourselves, or your thousands of miles of ocean that you can't wall off.
Right.
Which people can take a boat and go around.
Yeah,
so,
there's enough. There's enough that it's not going to happen, and also in our own constitution, it's illegal for them to do so. So it would have to be a very big sea change for things like that to happen. Otherwise,
it would be a civil war, and they would lose because the federal government has your National Guard versus our federally funded and trained military.
Yeah, we're getting on a tangent though.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
About our own.
I was only going to do one sentence, but I have strayed.
That was not one sentence. That was definitely not one sentence. So, on to crime and punishment. There's a nice little infographic. You might have seen it. Surviving a bear encounter. A guide for hikers and outdoor enthusiasts. An artist has taken a pen and scratched out bear and put police. And for hikers and outdoor enthusiasts, and said African Americans. Figure 1, avoid eye contact. Scratched out bears. Police will perceive eye contact as a challenge to their authority. Avert your eyes. Try looking down. Figure 2, do not run. Running will trigger the officer's instincts and provoke an attack. Fleeing the area is a good idea, but do so at a calm walking pace. Figure 3, don't be a threat. Police, police, are easily provoked. Speak in a calm, low voice and don't make sudden movements. Raise your arms above your head to seem not larger but submissive. Figure 4, play dead. If all else fails, drop to the ground and pretend to be dead. Police officer will usually stop its attack once it thinks it has killed you. It's so accurate.
It is, and it's
based on the videos that have been coming out at an increasing frequency, especially lately.
Yeah.
There is a nationwide call to arms, essentially, to film police doing their jobs, which is part of what's driving the bill in Texas. But yeah, somebody outside of law enforcement needs to be their watchman because they have utterly failed at watching themselves.
Yeah. And
here's a crazy bunch of numbers.
Oh dear. We like numbers.
Oh yeah.
I like
believe it was Germany. Our friends over in Germany.
Okay.
Last year, 13 people were killed by police. Our friends over in China, a country of over 1 billion people, 0 people were killed by police last year. In the U.S. alone, at least 1,200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great Britain has killed less people in the entire history of its police force than we killed last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We have a problem.
We got a problem.
We have a problem. And David, you found one. A California California sheriff investigates a disturbing video of a suspect being beaten.
Yeah. So this guy was wanted. They were serving a warrant for identity theft. It was an identity theft warrant.
Well, that's a hard
one thing.
Absolutely.
One thing led to another. He ended up fleeing from police on a stolen horse.
A horse thief. He's become a horse thief.
He's horse thief. Next thing you know, he'll be rustling cattle. But anyway, he's riding along. He falls off the horse, and he's on the ground. The cop's running at him, so he lays down, face down on the ground with his arms out to the side, and that's when the cop tases him. Continues to tase him, and he's like shot. You can see his body like jerking.
Yeah,
and he's still laying on the ground with his arms out, and then the cop gets on top of him. Second cop comes up. He puts his hands voluntarily behind his back, clearly seen in the video. Second cop comes up and kicks him in the head after he does so.
Wow.
He is then piled upon by another 9 officers. It's basically the Rodney King beating, except it's a white guy. And it literally is the Rodney King beating, except it's a white guy. They got this guy off his horse and they beat the ever-loving shit out of him. And then they claimed, "Oh my God, it's such a big deal. We had to treat one of our officers for dehydration."
But that, oh God.
That your dehydration because you're running around in a drought environment does not justify beating a man with 11 guys.
He made me cranky. Okay, so that's ugly.
Yeah.
Moving on to more ugly. First woman in the U.S. sentenced for killing a fetus.
Yep.
This is a huge just.
This is an I told you so for a lot of people.
Indianapolis, Indiana. On Monday, the state of Indiana sentenced 33-year-old Pravil Patel to 20 years in prison on charges of feticide, an act that causes the death of a fetus, in case you couldn't figure out what feticide was, and neglect of a dependent. She received a 30-year sentence on the felony neglect charge, 10 of which were suspended. A 6-year sentence for feticide will be served concurrently. Patel is the first woman in the U.S. to be charged, convicted, and sentenced on feticide charge. Reproductive rights activists are admittedly outraged. Basically, what is there to be said other than she didn't even have an abortion?
She had a miscarriage around.
Miscarriage.
No, she didn't have a miscarriage. She had a stillborn. And she freaked out because she was on her own. She didn't go to a medical facility for this. And she freaked out and disposed of the fetus in a not so great idea of a way, but admittedly she was in shock. In a dumpster.
Then she went and got medical help.
Yes. She had a stillborn.
She miscarried at 23, somewhere between 23 and 25 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, 23, 24, yeah. Yeah. 25, although 23 to 24 weeks, although prosecutors argued that she was 25 weeks along, of course making it even worse for her. The prosecution confirmed on Monday that the baby died within seconds of being born. How much trauma can you inflict on someone? I mean, really, this is a horrible thing that happened to her.
Yes.
It is.
And then And
a
I'm not
miscarriage
talking
in any
being
state
arrested.
is horrible.
Yeah. She lost her child, and now she's being punished for losing
your child.
So she's going to have 20 years to just rot on that thought.
Yep.
She's going to have 20 years at $40,000 a year supporting the privatized prison lobby.
Well, that's true. Yes, but that's a previous show that we've done.
Average of $40,000 a year, but we only spend like $5,800 to teach our kids each year per kid.
Yeah. Now moving along. Okay.
Because I like numbers.
Creepy judge reduces a pedophile sentence. Suggests that the little girl caused her own rape. By the way, she was 3.
I'll read the quote.
Go ahead.
If you don't mind.
No.
In looking at the facts of Mr. Rojano's case, the manner in which the offense was committed is not typical of a predatory, violent, brutal sodomy of a child case. Mr. Rojano did not seek out or stalk the victim. He was playing video games and she wandered into the garage. He inexplicably became sexually aroused but did not appear to consciously intend to harm the victim when he sexually assaulted her. Although serious and despicable, this does not compare to a situation where a pedophilic child predator preys on an innocent child. There was no violence or callous disregard for the victim's well-being. And this is where I say we need to investigate the fuck out of this guy's computer, because if this guy raped a 3-year-old girl,
3.
and this judge thinks that there was no violence or callous disregard for the victim's well-being, having sex with a 3-year-old qualifies as violence towards them and callous disregard for the victim's well-being.
Yeah, just that act. Yeah.
Just that stands on its own as fact that I will proudly state here. It is sexual assault. Assault is
But remember, there are levels of rape. Don't you remember? There are levels of rape.
Yeah, I have a chart around.
Well, yeah.
You're
Apparently,
not punched in the head. It's not violent.
Apparently, it wasn't a legitimate rape because the 3-year-old's body shut that down. Apparently.
Right. Yeah. So it could be because puberty had happened.
Yeah. The stupid hurts.
It burns.
No, the stupid is almost literally making me sick.
Yeah.
What is not even this judge, but across the board, for some reason we have a problem holding these people accountable for their fucking actions. There are adults and there are children in these situations. Why? Oh, why is it so hard for people to expect the adults to act like the fucking adults?
I don't get it.
Yeah, I could not.
Now, Rojano.
I could not picture victim blaming in a more clear way than this judge has written.
Yeah, it was a mandatory 25 years to life in prison, and his sentence was reduced by 15 years because somehow this judge is sympathizing for Rojano instead of the little girl.
To me, this is like red flag.
I'm sorry.
alert.
Sorry. Shot in the face. Done.
This
does not deserve to
friggin'
exist.
judge has got like pedo bear written all over this opinion.
Nope.
Yeah, it's like why would you go out of your way to change it and to put? Is there a pod in the backyard somewhere? Is he now officially an alien? Because there's something wrong here. Why would you go out of your way to do this when it would be just as easy to say, yeah, I'm not going to touch that. The work has been done here. Whereas you could work on a case where someone actually might have not done the thing, whatever the thing was, because that happens.
There is no question about the validity of the act. The act definitely happened. He's questioning whether it was actually an assault, and I'm just like,
this.
Are you justifying your own behavior?
No. Just no.
Nope.
All aboard the nope train.
Oh, so much no.
Yeah, it's bad.
No.
So we'll kind of we'll kind of keep our ear out for that one to see what happens to that judge, because something's got to happen.
Anonymous, somebody out there hack this guy's shit and let us know what's on his fucking hard drive, because I bet you dollars to donuts this dude is fucking guilty of sin of his own fucking crimes.
Yeah. Remember last week we did have the guy that had to explain. Yeah, he went out of his way to explain why he killed his cellmate.
Yeah.
And it was because of pedophile.
That is some audio snippet.
Yeah. So definitely, hey, if you want to hear some more gems like that, go back to show 52. It was great. So moving along from that. Okay. So apparently the U.S. government, some idiots out there, have decided that all those forests, the national forests that we have, that they're not national parks, they're just national forests. We're going to go ahead and sell those. But we're not going to make any profit off of it. Specifically, we're not going to make any profit off it.
Why?
In the amendment number 838, purpose to establish a spending-neutral reserve fund relating to the disposal of certain federal land. At an appropriate place, insert the following section, blah, 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 spending-neutral reserve fund relating. This is like a form letter. It's boilerplate. The chairman of the Committee on the Budget of the Senate may revise the allocations of the committee or committees, aggregates, and other appropriate levels in this. Then page 1,884, resolution for one or more bills, joint resolutions, amendments between House, blah, 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 blah. Motions.
This is why people don't pay attention to politics.
Exactly. Initiatives to sell or transfer to or exchange with a state or local government any federal land that is not within the boundaries of a national park, national preserve, national monument by the amounts provided in such legislation for the purposes provided that such legislation would not raise new revenue and would not increase the deficit over either the period of the total fiscal years 2016 through 2020 or the period of the total of fiscal years 2016 through 2025.
Okay, so is this the federal government selling these forests back to the states?
I think that's what...
This brings me back actually. This brings me back actually to Clive and Bundy. And the only legitimate bitch the guy had.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Okay.
In that when the East Coast were all states first, so they got to keep all their land. When the West Coast states were allowed into the Union, they were basically forced to have in their state constitutions that the federal government got everything that wasn't currently owned by citizens within those states. So that's why in a number of West Coast states, and I believe all the ones that they've mentioned, the federal government owns something like 70 or 80% of all that land that's out there.
Yeah.
And it's not national. Most of it's not national park. It's just
federal
land that they own. It's just it doesn't belong to the states. It belongs to the federal government, even though it resides in all those states, and it's not national park and it's not National Forest Service or anything. It's under the Bureau of Land Management, which is a different entity entirely, which exists solely to manage this land.
It's just unincorporated territory, basically.
It is unincorporated territory, and I think that what this might actually be is a push to give that to those states so they can be they can manage their own.
It's an amendment introduced by Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska.
Well,
where they have an awful lot of land that is not technically usable.
Yeah.
However, it also is being heavily pushed by ALEC and Americans for Prosperity. ALEC is
they wouldn't be pushing it if it didn't have some shitty provisions in there.
Well, basically, it leaves the door open for once it's in the state's pocket, then they can get the state governments to go ahead and give them mineral rights.
Yep.
So that way, they can go ahead and tear down all the trees and get all the money from that. So
but hey,
out of the federal hands, then I'm not sure if you've noticed, but at the federal level, we see things happen. Things move kind of slow. At the state level, things happen a lot faster, and we don't ever see it for some reason.
Nope.
Well,
so as soon as we lift it down to the states, all of these things are going to happen. They're going to go through on some bill. It's going to be worded so poorly, you're not going to know what you just sold.
Yeah. I think that has a lot to do with their tendency to view states as less important than federal government. Because the federal government is the larger entity over top of all of the states, which is why, you know, the governorships and whatnot, people don't view that with the same level of scrutiny that they do the presidential election. You know, your area senator is not necessarily the same level of scrutiny as your state government doesn't get the same fine-tooth comb necessarily for what they're doing, because people are only looking at what the federal government is actually doing. We've got our eye on this ball, and we're not looking at what the left hand's doing.
Yeah. Now, apparently, this initiative did not require a 60% majority, and it passed with a 51-49 vote.
Ooh.
Yep.
Okay.
And
honestly,
Rand Paul was in there with the yays.
Well, of course he was.
And so was Cruz. So was, of course, Cotton.
I have mixed feelings about this, but if I were king.
If you were king.
If I were king, I would sign this bill. And I would do so with a statement of there are two tragedies in life. One is not getting what you want. The other is getting it. It absolves the federal government and Obama of the blame for what occurs in that land after they give it back to the states.
Well, think how easy
it's your land to manage. If your state's all fucked up, that's your state's fault.
I've got one item to add to this, and then we ought to move along.
Mm-hmm.
Keystone Pipeline.
They have to, instead of negotiate with the federal government, they have to negotiate with every state down the line.
And that's
which means they might go like,
yeah, it might be quite the zigzag, but yeah, they would be able to do it though.
They'd be able to do it. It might be quite the zigzag.
Mm-hmm.
It might end up being more expensive than just training the shit down, and which is going to eat into their profit margins. So honestly, they're probably better off.
Yeah, it'd be better for one-stop shopping, but the one-stop shopping has been shut down.
Yes, for 3 elections. That's a long time to sit on billions of dollars of profit.
Well, it's either 3 elections or this. Then all they have to do is get the right people to sell off the right land, and it's in the bag. Done deal.
Mm-hmm.
So if you start seeing some big pipes being laid down across the fruited plains, the amber waves of grain and all that, you can probably blame this.
You can probably blame this. And I would say that this would be an example of the other tragedy in life being getting what you want.
Right. Well, somebody's getting what they want.
And this is there are consequences for voting, and there are consequences for not voting. And you didn't vote in the last election because you've apathy. Yeah. You are not absolved of blame.
Dollars voted, and they voted against you. So enjoy what you get from that.
Yep, 20% of the people decided it for the rest of us. So.
And get out there.
It is what it is.
Get out there and vote. So as far as entertain, that's done with the ugly. By the way, we're done. We're so done with that.
Can I just add one more note for the good? Just a little.
Oh yes, please.
Do it.
Cuba has been certified by the World Health Organization as the first country in the world to eradicate the transmission of HIV and syphilis from mother to child.
What?
Wow.
Yeah. So Cuba's doing something right.
All right. That sounds
Cuba's medical system is one of the envies of the world. It is. They are. Their doctors are primo.
They've been doing some amazing things down there. They absolutely had. I know that they were the #1 place to have eye surgery done.
Yeah, but just a little bit of good after all of that bullshit we just went through.
I love it. I love it. A little sweet aperitif.
Yeah.
Yeah. Spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down.
I for one am excited to have South Key West added to the country.
That'd be lovely. Okay, so entertainment reviews and picks so that we can get the heck out of here. Cards Against Humanity is my pick. Not just because it's an awesome game, but they also do some interesting things. They've been putting out these little add-on decks that you can add to your giant collection of cards. Just going to say cards. And one of them is a STEM pack. It's a science pack. Science, technology, engineering, math for STEM. And the deck that they're asking only $10 for is they're putting profits towards a fund to help to a women's scholarship for STEM education.
The people over at Cards Against Humanity are the best.
They really are. They're doing good things. Yeah. It's only a 15-person company. And they're doing some amazing work. They really...
Amazing.
Yeah. Previous special Cards Against Humanity's decks have raised nearly $2 million over the past few years and benefited DonorsChoice.org and others. So it's a good thing. And, this particular pack is $10. They've got other packs, and you can find the links to both the article that turned me onto this and, of course, out to their store page where you can buy them and have them delivered to you. They're fantastic. Do you two have anything to pick? Anything to add?
I do. David, you go first.
I got nothing.
You got nothing.
I got nothing. I can show you a picture. Here's the little CD mount that I ordered. This is my new one. And it is beautiful. I don't actually have my phone here so that it won't be going off, but here's a mouse being held in this is my travel mouse. So you can get a visual of what your phone might look like inside there. But yeah, this goes in your CD player, sticks out. It works really well. It's got a little push tab on the bottom of it, so it's real easy to snap it in there and keep on rolling, and it keeps it very secure. And it comes with these little rubber pads which attach on here, so it gets a good grip. And there's 3 different sizes. It's all about good grip in your CD player when you're bouncing down the road, let me tell you, because
it's true.
Because when this sucker falls out and your phone falls down and that's your GPS device and somebody's trying to call you, it's upsetting.
You're not going to have a good time. Nope.
You're having a bad time at 75 miles an hour.
That's so true.
And that's a bad time to be having a bad time.
That is a bad time to have a bad time. Oh, Jess, what you got?
Hold on. I am... Aha. So, there was a fun little meme started on Tumblr. It started with a piece of art of fun 50s housewives with random weapons like a chainsaw or a machete or something like that. It's fun art. And a group called Sketchy Panda Games took this piece of art and kind of ran with it. They are developing a video game of zombies and 50s housewives. So the entire game, you get to play as a 50s housewife in a zombie apocalypse.
Okay, then.
Well,
and it sounds like a whole lot of fun, and they're being inclusive of all peoples and races and body types and all of that, but still making it fun and kitschy and adorable. I think they may have just launched their Kickstarter, but I will have that link for you guys in just a second. But it sounds like a lot of fun. They're making it as cheeky as possible. They're making it as cheesy as it sounds, but making it actually lady-centric without making it sexist. And it sounds like a whole lot of fun, because I would love to wear an adorable floral floofy dress and, take a chainsaw to a zombie. That sounds like a lot of fun.
I can't argue that.
No.
I like that.
There is no... When you're murdering zombies...
Don't you want to look your best?
Everything's right in the world.
And then go home and make a roast.
Yes.
I love it.
What's for dinner tonight, Nani? Soy de Jean.
Pork
loin.
It truly is June Cleaver. Mm-hmm.
But I love it. Yes. But check out Sketchy Panda Games. They have a Tumblr. I will have a Kickstarter link for you guys right after we finish the show.
All right, and you'll have that in the show notes where you can go find all the stuff that we've done, and that's it for us tonight. Okay, we'll be back next Friday at 9:30. Wait, are we? Maybe. We'll see. Okay, that's it for us tonight. Head over to ORly Radio, that's ORLY, radio.com, for all the links right at the top of the page, and do watch us live and chat in the IRC. If you have liked what we've done here, you can help keep the lights on. I did just pay to have the hosting renewed for a year, so I would love to have a little help. That's always fantastic. Thank you very much. Very helpful. You can do that over at our Patreon page, patreon.com/Cowen, C-O-W-E-N. That's me. Okay, if that's too rich for you, I completely understand. You can contribute to the show in other ways, though. How about give us show ideas, corrections, always helpful, advertising offers, hey, unclaimed lottery tickets, hate mail, unsolicited advice, things like that. You can email those to us at orlyradiopodcast@gmail.com. And, of course, you can leave us a voicemail, 470-222-ORLY or 6759. And, hey, we've got a subreddit, too. Probably ought to go check on that and see if it's still open, too. But, hey, you can post stories there and vote them down, vote them up, do the thing with the stuff in the Reddit and the junkie, yeah. Whatever platform you found us on, too, go over there, leave us a 5-star review, please. And, of course, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. So, we can't thank you enough for spending an awfully long time with us this evening. Thank you very much. And the show has been proudly produced by me, Cowen Services, and, of course, my gallery of rogues. Thank you, Jessica, and thank you, David. And that's it. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye now. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.